Right, hello. I'm out today in a place called Cannock Chase, which is in the central part of the UK. It's a beautiful green space, lots of trees, lots of forest, and it's got lots of wooded areas and secluded car parks and semi-secluded car parks like this one. So for those of you who've been watching the channel recently, you've seen that I've been upgrading the Land Rover so that I can come out in places like this, either do some work or do some home radio or just go on little mini adventures. So today is really just to test out some of these additions and modifications and just reflect on that. It's getting a little bit easier putting this awning up, I must admit. Let me just turn it around. I must admit, the first few times I've put this up, it's been a lot windier, but I've really had to fight it. But I'm just starting to get a technique where I can put the awning up without getting trapped and curled up in it and looking an idiot. So not perfect yet, but we're getting there. The antenna's tuned in. What I have noticed, which I thought would probably happen, when the solar panel is plugged in and the charge controller is float charging the leisure battery, I'm getting noise across the ham radio bands. And I've just ordered 1/2 ton of ferrite, which I'm going to eventually put through all of the electrical and USB connections, just trying to reduce any noise getting into the antenna, into the radio system. So at the moment I've unplugged the solar panel. I'm going to run the battery, and when I have a break from the radio I'll plug the solar back in and then switch that over for the moment. But eventually I'm hoping to reduce the amount of interference from the solar charging system into the ham radio. But we are up and running. There's a little bit of traffic. I'll have a good listen. I'll have a good listen in a few minutes, but I'm still setting up. I need to get a drink actually, and yeah, we'll carry on chipping away at setting up. So being out here today also gives me a chance to use one of the citizen science projects that I had a list of them a while ago when we're still in lockdown, and one of them was an app called Record the Earth. It's asking people to just take an audio recording of either nature or in the city or anywhere, and when you upload that audio, it asks you to tag it with a few different things. And basically the idea is to collect audio recordings from all around the globe and get an idea of the changing landscape. So I'm just going to get away from this car park a little bit and just take a couple of recordings of the late spring sounds we've got around here. The bird song and the weather. I'll try and capture that in the audio. So that's the plan today as well. And I don't know if you can see that or not. It asked, did you hear any of these sounds? Heard birds, insects. with a bit of wind. There's some vehicles. It made me curious, didn't really relax me with the sound of the cars. And then basically you upload that audio, so in the background that will that audio will now upload with those tags added to it.
Entrata sul balcone.
One thing I have noticed is although I've put some work into making things a bit easier to set up and a bit tidier, it's soon got messy again. But each time that I come out and try this, I go back and I go, okay, how can I do that differently? How can I be a bit more tidier? One thing that is glaringly obvious is that I've set the ham radio up in the truck for mostly operating inside the truck, because days like today are a rarity rather than the regular occurrence. So I've got the ham radio set up on the other side because that's where I'll be operating it from mostly. But on days like today, I'd like to have the radio here so that I can hang around under the awning and have direct access to it. But because it's actually inside the box, it's easy enough to unplug, spin it round and plug it in here. So I'm not going to change the position of the box. I may do eventually, but at the moment there's no point me making those sort of decisions based on a glorious day like today, because as we know from this channel, it isn't always like that.
Oh, Juliet, November. I've been up here about there for...
Right, nearly packed up. It's just getting nice and cool actually. There's a nice breeze blowing. Might even lose the hat for a little bit. I get hot underneath that. So yeah, all packed up. I'm just going to go for a little walk actually, just a half an hour stroll about. But I wanted just to make sure all the bits are packed down from the vehicle rather than leaving the antenna and the solar power panel on. So all that's packed up. Not much activity on the ham radio bands. There's a couple of people on the local repeaters on 2 meters. HF, I only spent half an hour just dialing about, having a listen. I didn't plan to do any. I didn't plan on actually operating HF radio properly. Just wanted to get set up, make sure all of it's working, like, you know, make sure that it's a little bit easier to set up, and it is. So the idea today was really just to see how easy it was to set the radio up now compared to before. There wasn't really much activity on 20 meters, but that's okay. I mainly came to potter about, do some work, enjoy the sunshine with a little bit of radio on in the background really, and that's it did its job. Right, okay. I'm going for a stroll. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye for now.